Welcome back to Awakened Entrepreneur Evolution. Today, my very special guest is somebody that when I was reading all of her teachings and her systems and her message, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is me. So I've never actually got to interview somebody that it looks like, from at least what I can tell so far. We'll dig in here more in a minute. Somebody that really, does a lot of the same sort of work that I do and is really beating the same drum around high tickets, simplicity. So, Pamela Dale is a business strategist and creator of the Client Code, a framework designed to help service based entrepreneurs attract high value clients and build sustainable, profitable businesses. After overcoming challenges like inconsistent lead generation and underpricing, sounds familiar, Pamela now empowers others to simplify their client acquisition and pricing strategies, fostering both financial success and personal fulfillment. Welcome, Pam. Is it Pamela or Pam?
I'll take whatever comes my way. Thank you for
Awesome.
having me.
Thank you for being here. This will be really, because I talk about the woo and the do, I have a lot of conversations with healers or, human design, like intuitives in other spaces. But to have another business conversation with somebody that I feel like really shares a lot of my same values and principles and teachings. So I was like, this is going to be a treat because listen, everybody,
Mm,
in this new energy that we're in, there's no such thing as competition. It's all about collaboration. And when I saw that she's been in business as long as she has and is really operating from some of the same principles, I was like, I felt validated more than anything, you know? And so I would really encourage you guys. One thing I tell my clients, Pamela, when they start doing some of their offer research, especially for high ticket, I'm like, go and look at other people that are already modeling, you
yes,
know, and they want to get discouraged, but I'm like, no, that's a good thing. That means what you want to do, that people are interested in it and they're already spending money on it. So it's a good thing.
yes.
So welcome. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm really excited about the conversation because I was just having a conversation with my husband just a few minutes before this about women working with other women and how we still have this darn, I'm going to call it a hierarchy, but I'm not maybe educated enough to know exactly how to word it. But it's almost like we're in this dog eat dog world that we're still trying to be and compete like men. But we actually don't do that. But we're still bringing it to the yard, so to speak. And it just isn't working. And there's something still, I think, about the way that I'm going to call it the patriarchy, right, has trained us to depend on men to provide, that if I'm not at the top of the heap, I will not be chosen. But I think what we need to do is choose ourselves, and then we're going to be okay. And we can let the men lie and we can let other women go. But if we don't believe in ourselves, we're still in this dog eat dog world. So I think it really comes down to, what are you here to do? And let's get to it and just walk with everyone and off we go. And it's going to take some time, but when women start to achieve more financial independence, my wish and hope and dream is that we actually will stop some of that stuff that goes on where we're still in competition, because we don't realize that maybe that's what it is. It's
Mhm.
just survival. We've been taught that that's how women survive, is to be the top of the pack, but we don't need to do that anymore.
No, we don't need to do that. And, the truth is, there we do so much better when we partner and we collaborate.
So true.
And even men too. It's not survival of the fittest, and it's really more so funny. I'm going to butcher this, but my audience knows it happens. Like, but I remember reading somewhere about even Darwin's theory that
Mm,
that towards the end of his life, like, he expanded it a little bit more to talk about coordination and
he did.
cooperation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I find it really interesting that people still think that that's really what he did, but actually he saw that that was not exactly correct. And if you look at nature, it's in a symbiotic,
Right.
concerted connected, we're all connected,
Right.
relationship and not,
Absolutely.
and so I thought, yeah. I'm glad you validated that too, because I'm like, I'm pretty
I
sure that I read this somewhere along the way.
Yes, I did as well, and it was really interesting. I think it's always something to be very cautious of when you hear of something like the Darwinism, but have you ever watched some of those shows where they're looking up your DNA or they're matching you with all of a sudden you've got a long lost sister? The way that you thought your life was and what it stood on was crumbled in a second,
I
but
haven't
you've lived
watched, but
your whole life.
I can only imagine. I mean, I've even had
Yeah,
close friends that found out very shocking things,
very
like,
me
well
too.
into their adulthood.
Yeah, all of a sudden the phone rings. It's like, what's going on, right? So
Mhm.
I'm always very careful what I believe and where am I getting that information from? And wanting to, and I'm not perfect at it yet, but I'm like, what do I want? What do I believe? And sometimes you're walking a very thin line by yourself. But it's like, I think we need to come back to ourselves. And yes, it's great to have some of this knowledge, but I was born in rural Saskatchewan, Canada, where we were taught in school that this land came from Christopher Columbus.
Right.
We didn't know it came from our Indigenous people, right? It was not in the school books. It's still not, as a matter of fact, but it's something so like we know I lived it. We had the reservations 2 miles from us, right? But yet we didn't get that education. So we're basing our lives on something that's not true. And I think we're doing that a lot of times. And for us as women, I think it's very important to dig in and understand how we are making decisions for ourselves. Are they made based on our own facts? And facts is even a scary word to even think about because where those coming from? But dig in and go, if you've got a dream that's been placed on your heart, you've got to believe that there's a way to make that happen. So I came from a very rough background, so to speak, right? But I had this idea. I wanted to get out. I wanted to move. I wanted to do these things. I wanted to own a business. So the walk was a lot. I had to undo a lot, but I didn't. I chose to believe that the world was not cruel to give me that and not give me the answers. So I had to go find, okay, so that's actually not true. I don't actually have to sell like that. I don't have to follow one of those stupid scripts or, like all of those things that I was taught in sales, right? Like you said just before we got on this call, I'd go home and cry. I
Yes.
just couldn't keep up with them. I couldn't, and that's what I said to you. I said I wasn't really good at sales. But this is back in 97, 98, 99, like a little bit older, and there wasn't as much information for women in sales and how to do this. And I didn't know that I could be me and make this work because every piece of evidence that they ever gave you in your sales consultation, review calls was that I was doing it wrong. And there was no other way. So I think it's really important to really understand who we are. Yeah.
Well, it really is, and I love that you also have that sales background and, a story that I don't know, I haven't told it on here. Maybe if I have, it's been a long time, but, one of the biggest reasons, well, two things. One, I do believe we're moving into an age where we do have to be sovereign.
Mm.
Each individual, we have to have our own discernment. We really are called at this time to develop that inner relationship so that we know the truth because you can feel it in your body. And the truth can be a little bit different for every person,
Of course.
depending on the subject. And that's okay too. And we can make space for that. But I think that that's really what we're moving into, and
We have
not,
to.
because I said so, or because his story says so, right? But
It's
as far
great
as
if
that,
you wanna stay on the sofa and watch Netflix and live the life that you're living. But what happens when you are a woman in business, you all of us just go talk to 3 of our friends and see if they really even understand what we do, like, or why
right.
we bother, or, I go over to Pilates class where my friends are, and I'm just fit to be tied, and they think I'm psychotic some days probably, like, my moods are up and down. I'm like, "Well, welcome to business. This is what we're doing," right? But to keep going, I've got to evaluate all the stories and all the things I believe so I can keep going. So I must do that. I don't have the comfort of just doing and living this life over here. I wasn't called to do it. Nothing wrong with it. No judgment. But if I'm a business owner, I've got to punch holes. I call it that big gray cloud out in front of me, right? I just got to punch some holes in it and see what kind of gas comes out, right? What's in
Uh,
there that's just bullshit, right?
yeah, I mean, you do. I believe that becoming an entrepreneur, and I think that's why so many entrepreneurs are spiritual because it becomes part of that spiritual
Mission.
journey, of awakening and understanding that there's more and that your potential is far bigger than, making somebody else rich. Again, no judgment. I really enjoyed my sales career
I
for the
want to
first
be rich.
15 years, you know?
Yeah.
At some point, it's the most it's like built-in personal development because you're always going to be. It's like I tell my clients, like, don't think this is a one and done thing. Like, you will always be expanding. You will always be right outside your comfort zone. Like, what you're gonna learn more than anything else is how to be comfortable
Yeah.
in the discomfort in that relationship with fear, and not that it all just magically disappears one day, but that you change your relationship with it. And to me, I can't think of, other than being authentically who you are. Like, I can't think of a greater gift than being able to have the skill set of I'm comfortable in my discomfort
Yeah.
and my fear no longer controls me.
Yeah. I'm still afraid. I think what happens now though is I just really run towards it and
Yeah.
it just dissipates so quickly. But when I don't, I just sit in it and sit in it. And then it just, I was talking to Ryan Dice yesterday. He's one of my coaches from Digital Marketer. And I said, I'm in one of those fucking dips, right? And he goes, Pamela, you've got to just keep rowing.
Yeah.
You cannot stop or you will drown. So it was about choosing a shade of pink. I was overthinking it. I would what? Like you look back on it and you go, what? It doesn't matter. The pink doesn't matter. But at the time it was a big deal. And then okay, just choose. This is the pink. Got on the call. He asked for a win. When you're in the valley of despair, it's like, okay, well, all I got's a pink. And he says, you and I both know it's bigger than that. And I go, yes, I do. I just had to make a choice. So it could be right, could be wrong, nobody knows. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about right or wrong. It was just keep moving in the storm, just keep moving forward. But a lot of us will stop. I used to stop. I used to take it as a
Mm,
signal. There's something wrong here because that's what the brain's trying to tell me. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ease up. There's a saber-toothed tiger coming around the corner. And there's
right.
really not, right? It's just a pink. But I learned to go towards and choose and make decisions, but I didn't used to. I used to quit. And it was
Oh.
devastating.
So what do you think then? What was it for you, or a culmination of things? Because I see that and that's what I'm trying to help them you know, get those reps in to realize, like, we move forward. Like, this is
Have
what you
to.
do. This is who you are. But
Yep.
what was it for you that
It's
made
funny that
you, like,
you
get
it's
that?
funny that you asked that because I was just saying to my husband this morning, I have such an admiration for men who provide because I provide for my family. I'm the breadwinner.
Mhm.
And there is a absolute the rent must be paid. There is no other way around this. There is no one else that's going to pay it. So that's the first thing. Just having, I remember in my first sales job that I had, the gentleman asked me if I had a mortgage. And I thought, well, in Canada, that's kind of illegal, right? But anyway, I'll humor him. And he goes, great, because I find that people who have something at stake are actually going to work harder. And I was
Mm,
like, you're right. I do because I've got something at stake. Well, I've got something at stake. So I must work, first of all. So then you get through the initial why, right? Pay the rent, etc. And then it's got to become bigger than that. And it can be about the next level of money. And then it's going to get to a point where that money doesn't even matter. So it has to be bigger than that. So for me, oh yeah, we're going to have lots of money. I love money. It's delicious and I want all of it for myself, right? That's perfect. But I know that to get to that, I've learned that I need to become the person that has the capacity to
mhm.
not only make it, but hold it. And that's what gets me to show up now is like, what is it that I can turn myself into or learn or become a better skilled leader or salesperson, etc. That's what wakes me up now because we have enough money to provide for our lives. We live now in Mexico. We're doing great, right? So there had to be that next level. But the first one is you've got to, if you've got somebody providing for you, cut the strings.
Well, I think that, what you're speaking about, there's sides to every coin. And there's basically this is this or nothing. But there's also the other side of that is also the certainty of it. It's like, this is what I'm doing. Like, this is it. Like, there's no plan B for
No,
me,
there is none.
And one thing I often talk with my clients about is the rocking chair test. Have you heard of
Mm.
this?
With the dog?
No, so
Oh,
it's
okay, keep
basically,
going.
when people sit on, they delay is like the number
Mm.
one key to failure as an
Yes.
entrepreneur. Like, I got to think about it. I'm going to get ready, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, is this right? And it's like I'm one of those. I probably because I'm a generator in human design and a Capricorn, and so I'm like, move, you're moving, we're moving, and we're going. But one of the best ways I like to help them move through it, because it can be scary, and I get that, is the rocking chair test. And that is, you're on your rocking chair, you're 90 years old, you're sitting on
Mhm.
your back porch, rocking and thinking about and reflecting on your life.
Yeah.
Are you going to regret this if you don't go all in?
We always
And
think we
then it
yes.
all comes back to clarity because it's like, oh, heck yeah, I got to go. I can't go take that job. You're right, Jana. Like, this is for me. This is mine. And I'm
I
like, so
use
claim
the
it.
I use the example a little bit differently. So I have a lot of women coming in my space, et cetera, that I work with, and they're like, "Yeah, getting on a sales call is so scary." And I was like, "Okay, hold on. I don't know where you picked that up." I
Mhm.
said, "You've birthed a child, no?" Like, let's put it into perspective. Because somehow this selling, talking to people has been blown so out of perspective, like out of proportion. It's ridiculous if you think about it. I've not having water for 3 days. Okay, that could be scary. But there's nothing in my environment right now that I need to be afraid of at all. I have food, I have water, I have everything I need. I have a fucking pool. I'm good. Right? But yet I'm going to sit here and lie to myself and say, "Hey, I'm scared of making a sales call." Come on. Like, if I'm talking to a woman, I'm gonna go, "Grab your epidural, let's go." Like, don't talk to me about things like that that don't make sense to me because I've been where you've been. Let's tell the truth. You just don't wanna build the business because we all know the story of the lady who lifted the car off her child. If you have to do something, you will do it. So instead of the procrastination psychological game that you're playing with yourself, just say, "Hey, I don't wanna build a business right now," and go. Leave it alone. It's get off the pot. So when they come to me like that, I'll go, yeah, that logically makes sense. But what you've got is the part of your brain that's trying to keep you alive is in the driver's seat and you need to stop and look around. It's okay. Just calm it down. And then go to the other part of your brain that has the goals and dreams because that's the one that set this on the table for you. Right. So
Right.
there's the prefrontal and, all of the brainy stuff. So it's proven in science that we have this. So your one in the back has just been in charge for far too long. I'll never forget the first time I learned this. I was like, why didn't somebody tell me that that voice was not trying to keep me safe? I didn't know it. That's all it was. And once I learned it, I was like, oh, okay. And then I did the rocking chair test. If my husband or someone in my family came to me and said, Janet, you know what? I need $20,000 for cancer treatment. And the only answer I could give them is, I'm so sorry. I was too scared to talk to a stranger. I was not going to say that was okay for myself.
Oh, that's really powerful. And it's, what is so rewarding about this work, with what we do and then what we help clients with, is how empowering is it to go, well, okay, so you need money for X, Y, and Z. Well, I'll just create an offer. I'll
Create.
just create an offer. I'll create.
We don't
And
have to make
having
it
that
anymore.
self-sufficient.
Yes.
And the other thing I wanted to really dig into with you is the sales thing. Part of my story is, in the sales world for over 21 years, struggled those first few, just,
Oof, don't we all?
trying to do the message and trying to do, get it right and all the things that people think sales is, which it's not. And it actually took a hurricane that
Oh,
came
wow.
through the center of my territory and took out a lot of, my customers' businesses, and in some cases homes. Like, it was very devastating. But in that moment, the silver lining for me was, well, I'm going to just do this my way now.
Mm.
They can't fire me. I mean, what kind of jerks are going to fire the poor sales rep that lost, half of her territory? And so then, and that's really what I try to instill in a lot of my clients is the way you think you're supposed to sell versus what is actually available to you are very different. And
Very
the
different.
sales model that you have and most people have grown to detest was created for men by men over 100 years ago. And it's just an entirely different time, an entirely different place. We don't have to bully anybody into anything.
The Wolf of Wall Street. I always use that as an example, right?
Yes.
That's they vilify salespeople and rich people on TV. And what do
Yes.
they think of women who are doing that? It's
Oh
even
yeah,
worse.
it
So
is.
we're picking up
The
an
devil
identity.
wears Prada,
Right? The devil. Like, she's just the devil if she's anything. And I'm
She's
like, I don't want
strong
that
and
identity.
confident.
I can't live with that. So then what do I do? Well, then what we've started to do and what I've heard is we'll start to pretty it up. We'll girl boss it. We'll put it in a rose gold aesthetic and a beautiful coffee mug, and off we go. And it's just serving. And I'm like, no, it's still selling. You must sell. You must learn how to sell. But what you need to do is learn how to do it the way that you need to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. Just go talk to people. You talk to enough people, people will buy, even if you suck at it, because that's how it goes, right? It's just safety in numbers, I call it. So
Mm,
for me, it was if I talked to one more business, oh, and I think it's a beautiful thing about being in sales because you knew we were like the whole company. Like
right.
the salespeople ran everything. You sold, you got it the way you wanted it. Your customers want this. The whole company would change just so you could sell more. Like it was all about the sales. And we were the stars all the time. We got the awards and we got the gifts and we got the trips
Trip.
and right? All of that. So that's how important sales is in a company. But we start our own business and the last thing we do is sell.
I know.
What?
I
What the
feel like
hell is
I've been
going
in a
on?
battle with the elephant in the room
Mm,
around what sales is in your business since I started because I came into
mhm,
this space thinking, I'd already done a great deal. Like, I'm a mindset junkie. Like, let's talk energy, frequency,
mm.
reality creation. Like, I love it. Right. And so I came into this space with 40,000 sales calls under my belt and a whole vast, like, nerdery PhD in like personal development. So I was like, I can't lose. Let's go. Who's
Right.
ready? And it took me an entire year of sucking at reels to realize, no pun intended, um, that people were totally in denial about this, that they had to sell in their business.
Mm.
I continuously would find, and maybe you can speak to this too. My clients thought I'll just post pretty things and I'll
Or
be consistent and I'll add value
or build
and
a
people
funnel.
will just magically
Yeah.
want to buy. And I'm like,
What to buy.
you're missing, first off, sales and marketing are two different departments within a business for a reason.
Yeah.
And you're missing the entire point of the marketing is
Yeah.
just to get them in the door. Then you have to convert them. And
Fill
it
up.
was like a big moment because I don't think there's enough people, particularly women, that are talking about this.
No. I've got this phrase, funnels have done us dirty. So
Mhm.
there's one funnel away, or let's build a
Yes.
funnel. And it's just another blanket in between you and the customer, where you've not even talked to enough customers to know what to put in a funnel. And then it's just another thing to keep us busy. We must, I'll never forget the first time I was in a business seminar and they said 80% of your day is selling. Like 80%. I think I'm doing like three, right? It was just astounding to see the numbers. But if we don't sell, we can't do anything today because what we've got is AI. So there's a lot of people out there trying to do it with AI. And if we don't actually talk to our customers and understand what they actually want and what problem they want solved from me, I will never make it. It doesn't matter how much I use AI. So you still must talk to your customers. That's what Ryan Dice said to me yesterday. I said, when do I quit? You know what he said? When you run out of money or you run out of client or offers, ideas. He says, you will never run out of ideas if you go talk to your clients.
Yep.
Because he said when they built Scalable, they wanted it this way. And when he started talking to clients, they wanted this, and he didn't want to do it.
Yep.
Interesting. That happened to me a long time ago. Building funnels, they wanted to know how to get clients. I'm like, well, that's easy, right? Of course, you don't know until you talk to your clients what they really want. So if you don't know, you're going to spend a tremendous amount of time on funnels or your reels, and it's going to hit dead.
Yeah.
So you
Because
have
you
to
can't,
talk to
it's not
clients.
sustainable.
You have to. You have to
And
talk
the
to
other
them.
thing I love that you brought up funnels because I talk about it all the time, but that is a scaling activity.
Oh yeah, once you
And
know what
people
you're already doing.
you exact oh my gosh, we could
And
we
even
you are
then they're
speaking my
challenging.
language, and it's just so frustrating because, I'll have people come to a sales call that are, newer coaches, and I did it too. I didn't know. They're like, "I got my website and they got my logo and I'm like, "Good, but we really need to focus
Have you
on you
talked
having conversations with your ideal client because no amount." You made me think of something with the Chat GPT, thinking about all the money that our marketing department used to spend trying to figure out the best message, and they would miss it almost every time. And the people who would have it, like I would run with things just because I knew how to talk to my customers. And then 6 months later, marketing would say, "Hey, this is a really good angle."
because
You
you
know,
talked.
and what is my point in all of this? Nothing, no fancy millions of dollars spent, no nothing will replace your boots on the ground, having a conversation with your ideal client to fully understand what they want and what they're willing to invest in. Like there's just no better way. And people want to avoid that when, what it is, it's like your worst fears come upon you. You just got to bite that bullet.
So it really comes down to being really completely and frankly honest with yourself. And as a business owner, I always say you cannot be an accountant who's got an alcohol problem, is overweight, relationship problems, can't communicate, doesn't shower, doesn't give a rat's ass about anyone, eats smelly fish in the microphone. Think about all the stuff that the one guy in corporate that you couldn't figure out why he never got fired, right? That guy. But didn't he get a paycheck every 2 weeks? He did. You will not do that in your business. So you must, when I say you, I mean me, I mean all of us, we must take a look at everything. And when you see yourself with a behavior over and over and over again, you've got to ask why. So if you don't want to talk to people, why? Tell yourself the truth. Some of y'all are not business owners, nor will you ever be. In my experience, what I tell people to do is go get a job in another company. 10, 12 people. So you have access to the CEO and the owner of that business and watch her. And
That's
you will then understand what she's going through, what you are as a team member, how fast she makes decisions. I'll never forget one day when I brought something up. She says, "That's a fucking stupid idea." Perfect. Like it was she's fucking my favorite person in the whole world, but she just knows who she is and where she's going. She makes decisions like this, and she never, ever, ever changed her mind about what she's doing. She didn't build 16 more offers. Like, well, that's interesting because I was changing every other month. I wonder
Mhm.
why that's not working. So some of us are not meant to be because we've got an idea that it looks like it does on Instagram, and
Right.
it doesn't. I share with my team, they know immediately when I'm off. And I'll tell them why so that they feel comfortable that I'm okay. But that's just the way we are here. We ain't quitting. We got mortgage to pay. I got their mortgages to pay. Like we're good, right? But
Mm.
yeah, it's a bump in the road. This is what this looks like, right? I'm priming them to either go open their own business or continue with me, right? So if you don't do that, you have to tell yourself the truth. And one of them might be you're not cut out for this.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point because they have so many coach. I think we've really done a disservice, especially in the coaching industry, because these marketing people will say, and there's nothing wrong with marketing. And now I'm all like
Nope,
judging on marketing, hating
nope.
on marketing, but they're like, just say that it's easy, that it's overnight success, that you're a millionaire flying on your private jet tomorrow.
Yep.
So, then people have the wrong idea. And I love that you're speaking to this because I speak to this a great deal in my content as well. It's like, it's not about the strategy, it's about development of the skill sets and the resilience.
It's
And it's
resiliency.
not just, like, if it were that easy, everybody would quit their job and do it.
Yeah.
So don't think that this is the easy road. That's not what this is about. This
It's
is a
not the road you chose.
mission-based and impact-driven
Yeah.
space where you just cannot not do it. I mean, that's
Right.
it. I
And
didn't
that's
choose
the
it. It
thing.
chose me, you
Yeah,
know?
me too. I'm like, "Damn, I wish I didn't have this calling because boy, oh boy, it's hard." And even if I wanted to quit, I knew I couldn't. It's
Right.
in me. I'm on this mission to help women
Right.
make money so that we're free. Like that's the whole reason we're here. And selling is part of it. But if you need to learn and take your foot off the gas for a bit and slip in with an entrepreneur, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Right.
Get it and
Right.
understand it and watch it and get some foundation financially so you're not out there starving because nobody will come when you're looking for people like
100%.
that, right? So it's a good tip, but it's also a great question to ask yourself. Why am I really not doing this? Am I really not up for it? It sounds glamorous, doesn't it?
Mhm.
It isn't over here. It isn't. You know it. I know it. It's not glamorous. Some days I've had to remove some of the best friends I've had from community because they were doing this and that. And I've had some of the most horrible things said. And I get, they're coming. Just know they're coming
Yeah.
and be grateful that you've got the skill set to deal with it. And if you don't, you'll develop it. And be
Yeah.
grateful it doesn't come all at once because you won't
Right.
be able to handle it.
Right. I was just talking with one of my collaboration partners, and when she first started, I don't know, she must have just been really, she's a messaging master, but she must have had this early on because one of her first events, she put an event up and like 300 people signed up. And she was like, oh my God, you
Yeah,
know,
you don't
like
always
that
want that.
rarely happens, but it's like, are you sure you want it to?
No, I wouldn't.
Everybody thinks, "I want that," but I tell my clients, I'm like, "What would you do right now if 100 people signed up to work with you?"
You have to
You
tell
know?
yourself the truth about capacity and understand
Yeah.
what capacity means.
Yes.
Are you capable of holding 300 souls, businesses, well-being, whatever it is, in your along with yourself?
Right.
You're not if you don't have yourself and your own foundation taken care of. And a
You'll
lot
short
of us
circuit
don't.
your nervous system. It's
All of
like
it.
trying to plug a 500-watt battery into a 1,000-watt whatever plug. It doesn't work. It'll
Uh-uh.
explode.
It
Um,
will, and it will blow apart the other pieces of your life that you're doing this for.
yeah,
So it's
that's
very
true.
important, I think, as well for female business owners. And I'll say this, just it's come across. I always get like I always say Jesus talks to me, and I get a marquee across my forehead. Does anybody ever get that? Like I can see the words going across my forehead. Our relationships are so important and our environment. If we don't have an environment that's going to allow us to be successful, it's going to be very challenging for us to step out. And I mean your significant other and everyone else that's really close. Some of you may need to or may be procrastinating about your business because you know that it's going to affect the rest of your life.
Right.
And some
Right.
of us need to go have some tough conversations. It's Women's Month. I don't know when this is going to hit the air, but
Ah,
there's the marches and Women's Day. And I said, you know what we need to do? We need to march right back into our own damn living rooms and talk to the people in our own families. We will not have this problem, but we're going to make it all look pretty by marching somewhere else and come home to the shit that's at home.
right.
We have the toughest conversations that make us want to squeal and squirm because I will not have that. I don't want to jeopardize and lose my relationship, but I will let it go if it means I can't fulfill on what I'm here to do. He
I
gets a
do. I
choice, I get a choice. Not everyone's willing to do that or wants to do that. But what is it that you know is going to happen when you are successful? Deal with that as well. I have a feeling with most women, that's what's in the closet.
Yeah.
It's
It's
hiding
that
under the
conundrum.
carpet. You're making all look pretty out front with your website and stuff, and you got stuff going on at home that you know if you started to be successful, it would blow.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so
Yeah.
true. And that's really where a lot of the sabotage comes from. But I have a question for you because
Yes.
I get this question a lot and I'm curious how you handle it with your clients. And that is, going back to the whole having conversations, right? With your ideal client. How do you get your clients on that bike, right? Like how do they start writing it? Because there's like a little bit of that chicken or the egg, right? It's like,
Yes.
well, I'm not really sure exactly to frame it, but I need to talk to my ideal client and I need to work with some clients so that I can really understand it. But at the same time, how do I work with clients if I don't understand it? So, how do you help your clients through that bit of a conundrum?
Such a great question. So I am I love the weight loss example. I think all women can kind of relate to that, right? Like when you go to lose weight, there's something that starts to come up when you go to lose weight. And if I was going to go first and look at those things, the mindset, the whatever, 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 versus the goal of the 20 pounds, can you hear where I'm going? So for business, we don't go to mindset or all of that. It's go, okay, we can make $250,000 3 days a week. Let's do that. That's my next workshop, right? That's going to bring all the junk to the yard. Then we get to deal with it. But if I would lead with all of that, no, you've got to lead with what they actually want
But what if they don't quite understand that yet? They're
with
all up
regards
in
to,
their PhD techno babble.
hmm,
And it's like, okay, well, I want to talk to my ideal client, but I'm not sure how to even frame it. Like, how am I even, you see what I mean? Like, even
yes. So I
not,
call
not
it,
even, not even to the point where it's like sell them what they want and give them what they need. Like, they don't fully understand what they want yet or
yeah.
how to get to talk to them,
So
you
I
know?
use a process called the client discovery code. Everything I
Oh,
do is
that's
like
right.
a
Yeah.
code,
Tell me about
right?
that.
So the client discovery code is part of the book, which is cracking the client code. But the discovery code is go and talk to 15 people who are either a current or past client or somebody you'd love to be a client. And
Okay.
just go ask them questions. How old are you? Are you married? What do you listen to? Where are you in your buying decision with regards to this? What is a perfect day? What's your day like in a before state and an after state? And just start talking to them. And then you'll get an offer out of that. And you go back to them and go, hey, I've got this. Would you be interested in it or know anyone who would be?
Yes.
That's how I do it every time. And that's what I show them how to do. And that data is so powerful. I understood from doing that this time, stepping out into coaching again, because I was a service based business owner, making a lot of money, building software businesses for people. And I wanted to start teaching people how to do that. So I went out and started doing my interviews. And I found that they wanted to know how to scale their service business. I don't know if I would have picked that myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I would have. So I spent money on Facebook ads. I did some really quick testing, $100 a day with some titles. I put 40 titles out in a great group of women and saw which ones they liked. I went to my people. I went to everyone. And like, you can spend $100 on testing, right? And see what you can do. And I got all the data. Oh, great. It gives me a starting point.
Hmm.
And then it's just keep talking to people. Tell
So,
people what you do. Partnerships. You mentioned
oh, yeah.
collaborations. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, for those that are newer, where do they 2 questions. Where do they find them? Because
Yes.
I know that because I'm putting myself in the former version of me when people would have
Mhm.
this conversation. Where do they find them and how do they know that they're their ideal client?
Right. So a lot of times we get stuck on the niche thing, right? We don't know, we don't know, we don't know.
Right.
And I am a confusion PhD expert. I could get confused so fast. And confusion is an indulgent emotion that has fear in the background. Because if I
Mm,
said to you, there's $100,000 in the next person that you find that you can talk to, you will go find them. Well, some of you won't, but it might be $1 million, right? So it's just confusion is just fear just running in the background. It's a default position for some of us, overwhelming confusion, right? Those are just lovely party, like really bad party friends.
great excuses not to take
Right.
action.
So, okay, think about it. I don't know where to go. I always say that in your life, you've got some history, some training, some understanding. Your family's been in this business. You live in this town and you're familiar with how corn grows. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can start to see all of these delicious little pieces, and you're just directionally going to head that way. So, my favorite place is Facebook groups. There are 13,000 Facebook groups for every niche you ever could imagine. So you just go to Facebook search, click on, type in what you want, click groups and go into the groups and see what's going on. Choose to join groups that have 10 posts a day and have some members. And then go in and just interact. Sit back and watch. What are they asking? What are they not asking? Get involved in the conversations. Don't expect them to just love you today. That it's not 19 or 2020, right? Like, it's a different time. They're it's going to take some time for them to pay attention to you. Don't post value posts because we know exactly what those are all about, right? Like, just talk to people, genuinely talk to people. And you will find over time, you gravitate to this person. This person's driving you crazy. This is not working. So it's not something you can do overnight.
Yeah.
This takes months of research. Billion-dollar companies, million-dollar companies, $100,000 companies, they do this research and it takes months. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen overnight. So keep your job, keep your side hustle, whatever's going on, and go and do the research. So we've been doing that for 3 months, branding, research, and still running the service-based business over here,
Mhm.
right? That's what it's going to take. I got mortgages to pay. I got things to do, right? So yeah, it's busy. Haven't had a day off since September, right? Okay, no problem. So that's what it's going to take to get this to go. And I just chose a group of people that I was passionate about helping. I don't know what the problem I'm solving exactly is yet, to be frank with you.
Yeah.
It's in the client game somewhere for sure, but what is it? Scaling, scope creep, how to do your automations? I don't know. A little bit of all. Okay, we can do all of it. So that's what I suggest people do is just go again. What's the key to all this goddamn thing, right? It's go talk to people.
Yeah.
And
And what
I
I'm hearing you say too is just we're testing, we're
we're
learning.
testing.
There's no you don't get to skip steps in this.
You can't.
And
AI
for
will
those
not let you today.
who are certain of where they're going,
Mhm.
can do what is necessary to get whatever clarity they need in
You can
order
decide.
to move on to the next step. Like and I just love that because something I try to really get my clients to wrap their head around is you are an experimenter. You
Always.
are a tester. You are always going to be tweaking and refining and
Always.
in
And
collecting data and analyzing like in
if
the
you
very best way.
if you think other businesses are not, you got another thing coming. I was talking to
Absolutely.
Ryan Dice, scalable digitalmarketer.com. Do you know they're constantly in? Do you know why Ryan Dice took the call with us the other day? He wants to know what's going on with us. He's smart. He's getting in and talking to his clients,
Yep.
multi-million dollar people that are in talking to their clients.
Nothing more powerful.
That's
You know,
all they're doing, scaling. Yeah,
we would
they
get
need to
hired as a
scale.
sales force a year before a launch just so that we could get boots on the ground
Yeah,
and start talking with the clients and what's important to them and start laying that foundation so that
I
when the product actually does come,
yeah.
they're locked and loaded and ready to go. You know, we called it
There's
oh gosh, what do we call understanding their needs and establishing their need for what was coming,
mm,
and so well gosh, I mean, you've given so much great nuggets. Especially love that for anybody that's listening because I remember hearing these things and I'm like, but what, just tell me. And you did, so go do it. Don't it's Be
or don't.
curious, like
Yeah,
just
let
talk to
yourself off the hook.
people,
Yeah, just
and
talk
the
to
better
people.
you get at that, the more you'll do it, and the more you
When
do it, the faster it will grow. I
when
mean, it's
someone comes to me and has a solution, I am excited. I wanna know, tell me what it is,
yeah,
right? So you're not talking to people that actually are moving and wanting to do something as well. So it's important who you talk to. Find people who've got families to support. They're not gonna
right,
play games with you. They're just gonna, "Let's go, let's do it." So it's
yeah.
very important to choose somebody who's actually up to something.
Yes, action takers, not,
Yeah.
we have to make that dream a reality. And the only way to
Oh,
do
I'll
that is to
spend
really
money.
be
I
serious in doing it.
Yeah.
So, I have one last question, and that is, what would be the number one lesson that you've learned through all of this? Like, is there anything that you wanted to share with our audience that just You wish you would have known. I mean, I feel like we've shared a lot. We had a lot of come to Jesus moments already,
Mm.
but is there anything else?
There's so many moments. I was born in Oxbow, Saskatchewan, Canada in 1966, before there was an internet. So my life was to be a farmer or a farmer's wife, right? And to sit here today talking about owning a business with other women halfway around the world, looking at AI and where we've come to and what the opportunities are in front of us. I wish I would have told that little girl that was in that situation that you're going to do something amazing, and continue to tell myself that with all of the women that I want to impact, to keep them safe and secure and to fulfill on their lives, because it's going to take money. We want to say it doesn't, but it really does. And whatever amount that is, and it needs to be a lot, it I think I would have been easier on myself because I felt for so long that it was hopeless. And there's so much hope if I just will keep going and just bet on myself. I'm not betting on anyone else. I'm just betting on myself and keeping that vision alive to fulfill on who that crazy girl was that just didn't fit in down there, right? So to speak. And loves big, huge cities and all this action and money and all of these things. So if you've come from a background, maybe like I did, that was full of alcoholism and abuse and just neglect, that that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. In fact, it's the most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me
Mm,
because I now know who I am as a result of it. I believe that when you go this far down, you come this far up, right? So I can see that there's such a gift to it, and we've all had something happen. I
absolutely.
don't know. We're not comparing whose trauma was worse than another's. We've all had something, but that was yesterday. What do you want to do today?
Oh, that's beautiful. It's so true. There are no truer words. It's always happening for us. Even the hard stuff
The
is
hardest
making
stuff.
us who we really came here to be.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. And when you can really let that one wash over you, there's a lot of peace in that.
There's
We don't
a
have
lot of
to fight.
there's a
We
lot of
don't have to
responsibility.
blame.
No, it's all responsibility. If I
Yeah.
take back the responsibility, which when you and I as business owners, most of the time we're looking for freedom. And we are not free if we're thinking that someone else is going to make me okay.
Yeah.
So I choose to take it all back. That's fine. Whatever you did or didn't do is perfect. I
Yeah.
want me now. I've got me now. And that's what we really need to be doing.
Yeah, and one of my favorite, coaches along the way said, "It's not your fault what happened, but
Mm,
it
how
is
could it
your
be?
responsibility to heal from it. Don't
Yeah,
let it
truly.
dictate,
Yeah.
the rest of your life." And so, well,
That's
I
another
appreciate
rocking
you
chair
so
moment.
much. What's that,
It's
Pamela?
another rocking chair moment, isn't it? I don't think we'd wanna get there and go, "Oh my god, I'm still upset about what happened when I was 8." Like, it
No,
just
what
doesn't make
good
sense.
did that do? What
Yeah.
good does that do? Well, where can people find you? Of course, we're gonna have everything in the notes. But I just wanted you to say, if you had anything for our audience, please feel free to share.
I've always got like 1,000 freebies. I think teaching has always been my gift. I am doing a workshop series called the Reclamation Code, where we're going to reclaim our revenue, reclaim our time, reclaim our spirit, reclaim everything that is ours, our gender, our identities. We're going to walk through that whole series this year. So it's free. Just come and join the workshops. And there's always worksheets and conversations and a really great place to reclaim what is actually yours. So it's the reclamationcode.com.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. And that will all be below for anybody that wants to join. And Pamela, thank you so much for
You're
coming
so
in and
welcome.
having this conversation. It's been a real pleasure. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for providing the space. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. And thank everybody that's listening for listening.
Yes.
And we will see you next time. So bye for now.
Bye bye.